This is the show that gets right inside the issues that count with some of the most exciting people in crypto today. Our crypto god this week is one of the hottest young figures in crypto. He was a teenage prodigy who got into mining and now has a multi-million-dollar company with a focus on Bitcoin and all things happening in crypto. This week, it's JP Baric. Don't forget to give us a like, add your comments, and subscribe. Welcome to the show, JP. I've got to say, for someone who's 24, celebrating 10 years in the crypto industry, having come from your parents' basement to building a multi-million-dollar mining company is seriously impressive. Mate, hats off to you. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to talk about mining and the journey today.
Just talk us through, at 14, what was the lure into crypto and how did it all start?
So for me, I was running a robotics camp and I was like, okay, I'm making some money. This is great. I was able to make $15 an hour per kid, which was minimum wage kind of for like lifeguards at that time in North Carolina where I grew up. And I realized that I needed something bigger to build on. And so I found this thing called Bitcoin. It was like $70 a coin, and it solved this really unique problem called the Byzantine generals problem, which is a trust problem that allows us to scale trust. And I was like, this is going to change the world. So I was a nerd running around telling everyone that Bitcoin, it solves this general problem. And then people are like, why do I care about this problem? Like, who cares? But for me, it was the most fascinating thing ever. And then that drive to learn more, to have money that couldn't be controlled by anyone, and to have something where I could, buy these crypto tokens without having to be an adult. Because I, at that point in time, was just about to open a bank account. I couldn't even get a credit card yet. So I was just starting my financial career in the normal financial system. And I realized that there's a whole alternative one being built out over here that's governed by code and not by rules and politicians.
And now you run a big mining operation. Where is it and how many computers do you have? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so right now we run a facility in Iowa. It's only 5.4 megawatts, but we're scaling rapidly. We have that one facility that has about 2,000 machines in it. We're deploying another 13 megawatts between now and June to run machines through something called our managed mining program, which is a $100,000 investment, which allows a few people to get into mining and get started with a white glove experience. That means no power bills, no technician labor charges, our energy at cost, which is one of the most important things in Iowa. That's 4.3 cents. The second program we launched is called Bitvault, which allows you to buy shares in a mining company run by an influencer who uses us as their distribution and delivery of the hash rate. So you actually own the physical machines, you're in this company, and you can invest minimum of $100. For us, how we're unique is we build out those consumer offerings. We're focused on making mining more accessible, putting computers to work for everyone. And then the business is also expanding where we're looking to buy energy assets. So we're working on a transaction to do 80 megawatts of self-mining, which will be 23,000 servers with investment partners. And that facility will be a wind farm as well. So we're buying the energy asset and we're building the mining facility, vertically integrating. And so I'm super excited to outline that and to roll that out. But it's been a journey, and this industry hasn't had great insurance. It hasn't had great banking. But that's all changing now that Bitcoin mining companies are going public and really showing the world that this is a huge market. Bitcoin miners last year mined over $23 billion in newly minted coins, which is insane.
So I bought I tested out mining. I bought an L3++. This is just test out Litecoin and Dogecoin mining. So do you got any tips on what I can do starting off? Because right now it's been running since about October, and I'm paying the electricity, so that's all break even. But I'm gonna scale it up to Bitcoin. I'm just trying to think what the best route is for that.
If you're mining at home, the best route is you want to make sure you have great ventilation. So machines will get super hot, they're super loud. So really you want to ensure that the heat is ducted away so that it can't come back to that same machine. So it's super important to have something called a hot and cold aisle. And so you have a wall where you'll basically cut out holes and slide each one of your machines in, and then almost like tape the machine to that wall so that there's no air that can leak back in. And then you just got to exhaust that air out. But you can use the normal air. You don't need to cool it. And that's the nice thing about Bitcoin mining is anyone can do it, even at their house.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. The good thing is through the winter, Alberta gets like -40 Celsius. So I was just keeping my garage warm.
Exactly. Pipe it back in,
Yeah.
heat up your house. Like there's so much value of creating that excess heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And JP, you mentioned, the renewable aspect of what you're doing with your mining, and of course, the whole electricity debate is a big one. Where do you see that heading, and what else is on the roadmap for you?
So Bitcoin miners buy a ton of energy, which is usually their largest cost in the business. And so we're directly incentivized to find the cheapest electrons, or the ones that no one else wants. We're not going after electrons in New York City, in Chicago, in places where people need them and there's a lack of them. We're going out to the middle of the Midwest where those local towns have plenty of electrons on the wire. And the fact is, you can't actually get them to Chicago because they will dissipate on the lines. And so Bitcoin miners are helping build out load controllable resources. So there's not many other assets out there that can control their load like a Bitcoin miner. If you have a data center, like a Google data center, it has to keep working 24/7. It can't just say, oh, YouTube's going to shut down today because the energy, is needed back in the grid. But if you have a Bitcoin mining farm, you get paid every minute or every 10 minutes with the mining process and the rewards you're doing. And so you can actually turn off to give your energy back to the grid. And that's what we've been doing in Iowa since 2019.
Yeah. What do you think the competition is like in terms of all these mining companies coming up to get energy? Do you think it's not even reaching that level of competition yet, since there's so much available in those non-local markets?
Well, it's definitely still hard to find a Bitcoin mining site in the proper location at a substation that has power broken down. It's not impossible, and that's why we see massive developments going up all across the US. But don't sign energy contracts where you're going to be too high to be profitable when Bitcoin isn't, the hot new token on the street and everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and with like, the 19th millionth Bitcoin has been mined, so there's 2 million left. What does that do to your business? Obviously, exactly, it gets harder, but what does it do to your business, and how does that look into the future?
So in the next 20 years, 99% of all the Bitcoin will be mined. And then the last 100 years, that last 1% will be mined. So Bitcoin miners get paid in transaction fees, which when people use the network, which are going down because of Lightning. And they also get paid because of the block subsidy. That block subsidy every 4 years cuts through in half, called the event called the halving, which means as a Bitcoin miner, it takes me double the amount of energy to extract the same amount of Bitcoin from the Bitcoin block chain. And so for us, we expect the amount of Bitcoin we're going to mine to go down, but we expect the amount of dollars in the whole ecosystem to increase. So in 2017, there was $5 billion of revenue. Last year, it was close to $23 billion in top line revenue for all the Bitcoin miners. So we're seeing this massive growth in USD revenue and a shrinking in Bitcoin revenue because Bitcoin's becoming more valuable.
Yeah, and I think that kind of helps with the volatility. Some people say, oh, Bitcoin's too volatile. But I think as a miner, the volatility is beneficial, especially when prices are down and you're accumulating at that level, because it goes up in USD value, but the halving happens, you're mining less. But let's say Bitcoin did rally 500% like it did 2020. Like that's a huge gain on top of mining your Bitcoin that you just use power for, right?
Exactly, and that's why platforms like Aave allow us to lend against those Bitcoin, and now we can actually take advantage of that 500% increase. Before, we'd have to sell it to pay our power bills. Like when I started, I was mining 500 Ethereum a day, but I would sell like 300 or 400 of them just to pay the energy bills. And so that's like a miner, you have to literally, pay this raw cost, this input cost. And most people don't understand, like that's what gives Bitcoin value. The amount of billions of dollars coming into the space, building infrastructure, hiring jobs, electricians, people shipping computers from all across the world, ordering components half a year out. That's what builds an industry. And we're all doing this to mine this digital currency called Bitcoin. That is like, there's only 21 million of them. People think we're crazy, especially when we started in 2013. We're just like, yeah, we're going to do 1,000 computers in a little factory. It's like, what are you doing?
I'm going to have to take some notes on that right there, because I've been selling my my Litecoin and Dogecoin for my electricity, but I don't think you can even you can borrow against it with
you can
with Litecoin.
This is your new competition, JP. John's he's going to be your new next time you're on the show. Yeah, we're going to have some sort of mining wars going on here. I can see it now. Well, man, I think that you are clearly so passionate about the whole ecosystem, what you do. You're just 24. It sounds like, you know, you're living the dream. Talk to us. What is a day or a week in the life of JP Baric like these days?
So for me, I'm in charge of the mining ops department in our business, and I'm also focused on creating TikToks and creating content that explains the value of energy usage and Bitcoin to the communities across the globe. I had a video go viral. It got 35 million views, and it told the story that computers can make money for people. And that's something I truly believe. We all of us trade our time for money, but the fact is we can actually have electrons work for us. And these computers can print money, which we call Bitcoin. And this Bitcoin is the most valuable asset, the fastest appreciating asset in the world, that you have liquidity 24/7 and can even lend against to live your day-to-day life. So I'm super excited to build this massive platform for anyone to get into Bitcoin mining and to take advantage and get exposure of this opportunity.
Crystal ball time then, as we're talking about Bitcoin and where it's headed and what's going. Let's put you on the spot. Where is Bitcoin price-wise gonna go in the next 10 years?
It's only 10 years old basically now. It's a little bit over 10 years, and another 10 years, I mean, we're talking $1 million plus a coin. I mean, I got in at 70 bucks a coin and people thought 1,000 was crazy, and then 10,000, and now we're at $50,000 a coin. It's like, you bought these for, you know, 60, 70 bucks. Like, that's insane. That's cheaper than a concert ticket, and now that concert ticket can buy me a house, like a down payment on a house. Like, how is that possible? It's because Bitcoin is the scarcest, most valuable asset that humans have ever invented, and the world is waking up. The world, with the information that's out there, they're saying this is the future. Why do I want to trust my government to manage their monetary supply and trust politicians who can decide that they want to do whatever they want the next day and it's going to be different? Bitcoin, it's never changing, and we all know the rules, which is super important, I think, in today's age and economy.
Yeah. Guys, thank you very much for joining us this week. Big thanks to John Doe, and of course, the crypto god this week, JP Baric. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And next time, we'll have a new crypto god. But for now, that's all from us. Bye for now.